This love of country is what is generally referred to as patriotism. But why the topic? I know some people will be nursing this question, and many more would be wondering what I intend to achieve with a lecture entitled, "Where are the Nigerians?" My simple response is that the issue of patriotism among citizens is currently on the front burner of conversations on how countries can overcome their challenges and attain greatness. This may have informed the decision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who recently urged the Ministry of Information and National Orientation to find ways to raise the feelings of patriotism among Nigerians. Personally, I've read many articles and listened to many commentaries on the issue of declining patriotism among Nigerians. One of such articles, "The Desertion of Nigeria by Nigerians, Lack of Patriotism, or a Need for a Better Life," by Timothy Onyegoke, which appeared on the business day of January 4, 2023. It was quite remarkable. As a result of this new thinking around patriotism, the most reputable polling agencies across the world now conduct annual surveys to determine the degree of patriotism among citizens of different countries of the world. You can be sure that the results of such surveys are taken rather very seriously in many countries. 4 countries, United States of America, Australia, India, and Venezuela, have often emerged in the top 10 countries with the most patriotic citizens in recent surveys. But in the year 2024, a survey by World Matrix, Mexicans came top in terms of national pride. South Koreans show the strongest feelings of identity, while Indians showed the highest willingness to fight for their country. To my shock and disappointment, Nigeria is often excluded from the list of countries covered by many of these global surveys. Thus, as part of this lecture, I propose that we empirically examine the degree of patriotism in Nigeria. The idea is to determine to what degree Nigerians love their country and how willing they are to make sacrifices for Nigeria. In other words, we want to find out what percentage of Nigerians are willing to make sacrifices, including the supreme sacrifice for the country. Being patriotic by loving one's country is one thing, but having the confidence that the country guarantees social justice and provides citizens with a level playing field to operate is a different kettle of fish. So we shall also empirically determine the level of confidence among Nigerians on the social justice side of the citizenship coin. This is because patriotism must go with a guarantee of social justice or equity for citizens to blossom to the point where citizens are proud to be identified as citizens of a country. It is also true that where social justice and equity are absent, it may be difficult to find true citizens in every sense of the word. As part of this lecture, we want to determine where Nigeria belongs. Does she fall into the category of countries whose true citizens are hard to find? Or does she fall into the category of a country where the citizens are proud to make sacrifices? This explains why I posed the question, where are the Nigerians? Simply put, we need to first find out whether we have Nigerian citizens who believe that the country provides them with a level playing field for equity and social justice. In essence, we seek to know the proportion of the citizens of Nigeria who are willing to make sacrifices for the country. So while all citizens of Nigeria are Nigerians, we are looking out for the Nigerians who are truly proud of their Nigerianness and therefore ready to go all out to love and defend her if and when necessary. So this whole lecture is fashioned to be a clear departure from the norm because it is a discussion about the real and verifiable feelings of the people, not theory. Before I delve into the lecture properly, let me state that I have a strong desire to see Nigeria rise to truly become the greatest country in Africa and possibly the world. I am emboldened by the fact that many countries have risen rapidly over the short periods of time to achieve unexpected greatness. I'm also an incurable optimist in this regard because I believe that if we do the right things, Nigeria will truly be great. Expectedly, I reflect this zeal each time I have the opportunity to present a lecture such as this. Often, I look at those things we need to do to make Nigeria great. This explains why only last month, when I had the privilege of delivering the 52nd convocation lecture of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, I chose to speak on the topic, why universities should lead the way to a new Nigeria. By the way, the University of Nigeria in Nsukka is the first indigenous university in the country. And here I am today, delivering another lecture on the platform of the oldest indigenous club in Nigeria. What a lucky man I must be to have been given these rare opportunities to lead a conversation and drink from the fountains of wisdom at these legacy institutions that define the history of Nigeria. However, on this particular occasion, while I remain optimistic about our future, I feel that this lecture is an opportunity for us to examine the level of patriotism among Nigerians. Let us therefore start by taking a deeper look at what we mean when we talk of patriotism. What is patriotism, actually? The simplest definition of the patriotism is love of one's country. Why this definition captures the real meaning of the word, there is room to bring in other essential components of patriotism. These components were described by Stephen Nathanson in 1993 to include a special affection for one's country, a sense of personal identification with the country, a special concern for the well-being of the country, and a willingness to sacrifice to promote the country's good. If all these were to be factored into the definition, patriotism can therefore be defined as love for one's country, identifying with it, having a special concern for it, and nurturing a willingness to sacrifice for it. Stanford, 2020. Looking at this definition, we can rightly say that patriotism is what is needed for the sustainable development of a country. This therefore justifies why patriotism has become a current subject of interest by both the academics and politicians across the globe. A high degree of similarity can be seen between patriotism and nationalism, but both terms are often used interchangeably. In addition, defining both terms and distinguishing them could even be more tricky for a multi-ethnic country such as Nigeria. However, for purposes of clarity, it is important to make a distinction between patriotism and nationalism, Lord Acton in 1972 is credited with making this distinction like this: nationalism is about affection, while patriotism is about moral relation. In other words, nationalism refers to our relationship to our race and is a rather neutral feeling, while patriotism refers to the awareness of the moral duties or responsibilities which citizens owe their country. An earlier definition by George Orwell in 1962 seems to be preferred by politicians. George Orwell used the words aggressive and defensive to distinguish nationalism from patriotism. According to him, nationalism is more about power and prestige, which we feel for our country, while patriotism is more about a sense of devotion to our country. Now the question before us is, who is a patriotic Nigerian? Based on the definitions, it could be inferred that any Nigerian who exhibits these attributes towards our country is a patriotic citizen of the country. In other words, patriotism is a powerful force that binds us, we citizens, together as a nation. It encompasses various aspects such as love for one's country, sense of belonging, pride in leadership, sense of security, and national pride. Over time, scholars and opinion leaders have explored these facets of patriotism and have offered various insights into the nature and the expression of this sentiment, which incidentally is the oxygen that energizes a nation. This is so because at the core of patriotism lies an unconditional love for one's country. Put water for them. This is so because at the core of patriotism lies an unconditional love for one's country, inspiring citizens to sacrifice for the nation's honor and protection. Our men and women in the armed forces come to my mind whenever I think of the highest degree of patriotism, which includes a willingness to make the ultimate sacrifice. This explains why they are accorded the highest recognitions and respect in most countries, especially the United States. And I look forward to a time when a comparable degree of respect will be extended to serving and retired men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Patriotism also fosters a sense of belonging, uniting citizens from diverse backgrounds to work together for the nation's development. The concept of one Nigeria is a powerful testament to the idea that our unity is our strength. Programs like the National Youth Service Corps and Unity Schools were conceived to promote a sense of allegiance and brotherhood among young Nigerians, highlighting the importance of a shared sense of belonging for our country's progress. Pride in leadership, both past and present, is another essential component of patriotism. We look to the examples set by our founding fathers. This commitment to serving and safeguarding the nation's sovereignty and interest is a crucial aspect of patriotism. National pride. The sense of pride and accomplishment from being part of a nation is another vital element of patriotism. Events like our Independence Day anniversary, our Democracy Day celebration, and the National Sports Festival showcase Nigerian national pride While the success of our athletes on the global stage brings glory to our nation and strengthens our shared sense of accomplishment, several factors contribute to developing a strong sense of patriotism among the citizens of a nation. For Nigeria, they include our rich cultural heritage, our status as the largest country in Africa. These factors infuse a shared sense of national identity and pride. For some other climes, particularly in the Western world, patriotism could be influenced by regional identification, effective democracy, migration and immigration, national leadership, globalization, vernacular culture, and national identity. For example, the United States of American history of immigration and the melting pot concept have contributed to a strong sense of national identity and patriotism among its citizens. In the United Kingdom, the country's history of regional identity has contributed to a complex national identity, while effective democracy and solid national leadership have helped to engender patriotism. That is what is currently happening in Britain. In France, the country's history of national identity and the concept of secularism have contributed to a strong sense of national identity and patriotism. I suppose if we appreciate these factors and their influence on patriotism, we can gain a deeper understanding of how to raise a stronger sense of national identity and loyalty to our own country. To further ventilate our topic, it is necessary to examine available research and data on patriotism and citizenship in Nigeria to enable us to gain additional knowledge into the current state of patriotism in the country. Consequently, I would briefly analyze several surveys, studies, and other relevant information available so we can appreciate the level of patriotic sentiment among our citizens. Thereafter, we can identify the areas where we can strengthen our national identity and our unity. One notable study by Pew Research Center in 2017 examined the level of national pride among Nigerians. The study found that 85% of Nigerians expressed a strong sense of national pride, ranking among the highest levels of patriotism globally. This finding suggests that despite the challenges we face as a nation, most citizens hold a deep love and loyalty for Nigeria. This is quite impressive. However, we need to probe deeper into the factors that influence patriotism in Nigeria. A study published in the Journal of African Studies in 2019 explored the relationship between socioeconomic factors and patriotism among Nigerian youth. The study found that factors such as education, employment status, and income level significantly impacted the patriotic sentiment of young Nigerians. Those with high levels of education and stable employment were more likely to express solid patriotic views. At the same time, those facing economic hardship and unemployment were less likely to feel a strong sense of national pride. This finding agrees with the opinion of William Cowper that no man can be a patriot on an empty stomach. Another essential factor to consider is the role of ethnic and regional identities in shaping patriotism in Nigeria. A 2018 study published in the Journal of African Political Economy and Development examined the relationship between ethnic identity and national identity in Nigeria. The study found that while many Nigerians hold strong ethnic and regional identities. These identities do not necessarily detract them from their sense of national pride. Instead, the study suggests that a robust national identity can coexist and be strengthened by recognizing and celebrating our diverse ethnic and cultural backgrounds. These research findings provide premium insights into the current state of patriotism in Nigeria and the factors that influence it. But how patriotic are Nigerians today in terms of the parameters we identified earlier? Love for one's country, sense of belonging, pride in leadership, sense of security, justice, and national pride. At this point, I would like to share the outcome of a survey which I commissioned my research team to conduct on patriotism and citizenship. This was necessary for us to have a practical on-the-spot experience of the current level of patriotic zeal among Nigerians. This would help us to objectively address the question of where the Nigerians are. That is, to identify the percentage of those who truly believe in Nigeria and who are ready to die for her. To achieve this, we administered an online survey, and a total of 1,670 people of different ages and levels of education responded. The respondents were made up of 950 females, representing 55%, and 750 males, representing 45%. And in Table 1, which is also attached to this study, the age distribution of respondents, the ages of 18 years to 24, 650 people responded, representing 39%. The ages of 25 years to 34, 280 respondents, 17%. 35 to 44 years, 300 respondents, 18%. 45 to 54, 310 respondents, 19%. 55 and above, 130, representing 8%. In Table 2, the highest level of education attained. In that survey, no formal education, none responded. In primary school education, none responded. Secondary school education, 20 responded, representing 1%. Then the tertiary education, 1,650, representing 99%. State of origin is attached. Now the Table 4, which deals with the love for Nigeria. On a scale of 1 to 5, how will you rate your love for Nigeria? 450 people, representing 26.9%, responded too much. 400 people, 24%, responded very much. 380, 22.8%, responded moderate. 169.6% said a little, and 280, 16.8%, no love at all. Willingness to fight for Nigeria. Should a war break out between Nigeria and another country, would you be willing to enlist in the military to fight for your country? Of 1,070, representing 64.1%, said no. 600, representing 35.9%, said yes. In Table 6, dealing with the confidence in our institutions, which of these institutions or organizations do you believe protects your interests better? The federal government, 310 persons said yes, 18.6%. State government, 190 said yes, 11.4%. Local government, 90 said yes, 5.4%. What of tribe? 230 said yes, 13.8%. Religion, 240, representing 14.4%. Social club, 200, 12%. None of the above, 410, 24.6%. Sense of safety among other ethnic groups. How safe do you feel amid Nigerians from other ethnic groups? 300% said not safe at all, representing 18%. 220 said a bit safe, 13.2%. 670 said safe, 40.1%. 230 said very, very safe, 15%. And 230 said extremely safe, 13.8%. Confidence in our security agencies. How confident are you that security agencies can protect the lives and properties of Nigerians? 640 said not confident, which is 38.3%. 550 said slightly confident, 32.9%. 20 said confident, 12%. And 200 said very confident, 12%. And 80% said don't know, 4.8%. Equal opportunities in Nigeria. Do you believe the Nigerian nation offers equal opportunity for all citizens to thrive? 250 said yes, 15%. 1,450 said no, 85%. Country of preferred residence. If you have the choice to decide which country you will live for the rest of your life, which of these countries will you choose? Nigeria, 600, representing 35.9%, said Nigeria. 380 said the United States of America, 22.8%. 60 said Britain, 3.6%. 410 said Canada, 24.6%. 120 said Australia, 7.2%. 20 said India, 1.2%. And 80 said none of the above, 4.8%. Now, table 11 is state of residence. Do you reside outside your own state of origin? 900 said yes, 53.9%. And 770 said no, 46.1%. Safety in another state. If yes, how safe do you feel living in another state other than your own state of origin? 180, representing 13.6%, said not safe at all. 180 said a little safe. 410 said safe. 370 said very safe. And 180 said extremely safe. From the results of this survey, the following findings emerged. Nigerian citizens love their country. Of the 1,670 sample population surveyed on how much they love their country, 27% said they love her too much. Another 24% said they love her very much. And 23% said they love her moderately. Only 9.6% and 17% said they have little love for Nigeria or none at all, respectively. What this means is that a greater majority of Nigerian citizens love their country. When you add the percentage of those who love her too much and those who said very much and moderately, you will get 74% of Nigerians who love their country. Only 26% had little or no love for the country, meaning that this is a country we all cherished and must all protect the country together. But there is a twist that is noticed for those who are willing to go to war for Nigeria. Of the sample population, 64% of the respondents said they will not be prepared to go to war for Nigeria. Only 36% are ready to do so. This implies that many Nigerian citizens, more than half the population, are not willing to die for their country. Of the institutions Nigerians trust to protect their interests, only 18% trust the federal government. 11% believe in the ability of the state government to do so, and 5% trust the local authority. On the other hand, 14% trust their tribes, while another 14% said they trust their religion more, and another 12% voted for their social clubs. The news here is that the greatest number of respondents, 24.6%, said they don't trust any of the institutions to protect them. The summary is that our people have little or no faith in the ability of any institution, be it government, religion, tribe, or club, to protect their interests. So it is not about the government alone. As the survey revealed, it is interesting that many Nigerians feel safe to live in states other than their own state of origin. While 28% feel very safe living in another state in Nigeria outside their state of origin, 13% feel extremely safe, with another 31% feeling safe. This means 72% of Nigerians feel safe living outside their own state of origin. Only a total of about 28% feel either unsafe or not safe. Also, the majority of Nigerians feel quite safe amidst Nigerians from other ethnic groups. A clear majority of 82% say they feel safe, slightly safe, very safe, or extremely safe. Only 18% said they don't feel safe. Regarding the country of preferred residence, including Nigeria, a sizable number prefer to live in the North American countries of Canada, 22%, or the United States, 22%. Again, Nigeria had the highest number of respondents, 46%, preferring to live here. This means that many Nigerians want to live in their own country. Regarding the confidence in the ability of the security agencies to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians, 38% are not confident, 33% are slightly confident, 12% are confident, and another 12% are very confident, with 5% saying they don't know. This means that majority, 57%, are confident one way or the other that the security agencies can protect them and their properties. This is very reassuring. However, a significant proportion, 43%, are not confident. Finally, regarding whether the Nigerian nation provides equal opportunities for all its citizens, the results are rather astonishing. While a large proportion, 85%, said they don't believe, only a paltry 15% answered in the affirmative. This implies that the majority of our people don't believe that the state provides a level playing field for all its citizens to thrive. When you look at the demography, you will find that young people ranging from the ages of 18 years to 24 years shows strong patriotism. 51% of them love Nigeria very much, or too much. Only 33% have little or no love for Nigeria. The middle age group, 35 to 44 and 45 to 54, are also quite patriotic. For 35 to 44, 58% love Nigeria very much or too much. For 45 to 54, 44% love Nigeria very much or too much. The oldest group, which is 55 years and above, shows the highest proportion of strong love. 59% love Nigeria very much or too much. None in this group said they have a little love for Nigeria. Across all age groups, more Nigerians expressed strong love, very much, too much, than little or no love for Nigeria. Our survey also showed that young people are the most willing to serve. Nearly half, 44%, of young Nigerians from the age of 18 years to 24 years say they will want to enlist in the Nigerian military if need be. This is the highest percentage among all age groups. Generally, older age groups are less willing to enlist in the army. Only 1 in 4 people aged 55 and above will be willing to enlist. Similarly, young people are the most optimistic about equal opportunities in Nigeria. But even among them, only about 1 in 5, 20%, believe opportunities are equal. This belief drops dramatically as the age increases. None of the respondents over 55 years and above believe Nigeria offers equal opportunities. Perhaps their position is informed by the experience over the years. Across all age groups, the vast majority feel that Nigeria does not provide equal opportunities for its citizens. Now, let us look at the takeaways from our study. First, let me observe that most of the findings from our survey are to a large extent in sync with the findings of the previous surveys conducted by the scholars whose studies I referred to earlier. However, citizens of developing countries are believed to have a stronger desire to go to war than citizens of developed countries. In a survey on the willingness to go to war conducted by World Atlas in 2018, Morocco and Fiji Islands came tops because 94% of their citizens showed a willingness to go to war for their countries. This was followed by Vietnam, 89%, Pakistan, 89%, and Bangladesh, 86%. An Oceanian country like Papua New Guinea came 7th, with 84% of her citizens being willing to go to war to protect her. What then is responsible for the relatively low percentage of Nigerians who are willing to go to war to defend their country? The other takeaway is that many Nigerians do not have the confidence that any of the former institutions, be it government, religious, tribal, or even social institutions, can protect their interests. The last takeaway from this category is more profound. The majority of our people don't believe that the state provides a level playing field for its citizens to accomplish themselves. This borders but what you can do for your country. In our case, our citizens seem to be asking, what has our country done for us in return for all our love for her? We shall address the way forward, but first, let us examine some challenges impeding patriotism from blossoming fully in the country. Those are what we consider or call here threats to patriotism in Nigeria. The results of our survey are quite humbling. They point to a worrisome decline in a feeling of patriotism among Nigerians across several key parameters. In other words, something is amiss. What combination of factors could be responsible for this near cynicism among our countrymen and women? Theoretically, a number of factors are known to weaken a sense of patriotism among citizens. They include lack of knowledge of a country's value, the history of the country, the culture of the country, and the critical assessment of the government and personal negative experiences such as injustice, inequality, and corruption. Distinguished audience, I make bold to state that our great nation faces a variety of threats that strike at the heart of our patriotism. I crave your indulgence to speak frankly about these issues, for only by acknowledging them can we hope to overcome them. Although the security situation in our country has witnessed tremendous improvements in recent times, the damage done by waves and seasons of sheer brigandage across the country is simply bewildering. From the insurgency in the northeast to the banditry plaguing the northwest, from the communal clashes in the Middle Belt to the rise of separatist agitations in the southeast and southwest, these threats not only endanger our citizens, but also erode the fabric of our nationhood. It is unrealistic to expect unconditional patriotism from a man or woman, boy or girl, whose loved ones are being mowed down by bandits, whose means of livelihood is threatened by criminals acting with impunity, whose sense of security is compromised, and whose feelings of belonging is shortchanged because of his or her ethnic or religious background. Patriotism is alien. Patriotism is alien to such people, especially when it seems the country has given them neither justice nor reprieve. Can you preach patriotism to men, women, and children who have been living in IDP camps across the country? Like William Cowper put it, no man can be a patriot on an empty stomach. If citizens have no confidence in the capacity of the country to provide social justice or equity, is it fair to expect fervent loyalty or patriotism from them? Your gaze, I feel, will be as good as mine. Political challenges too. Political challenges cast a long shadow over our nation. Corruption. If I am not the one, no man should be. Disrespect to leadership. Inability to cooperate and support national sovereignty. The insidious cancer continues to eat away at our institutions and our individual and collective feelings of patriotism. The practice of looting our commonwealth, some of which is invested abroad at the detriment of our own economic development, is about the most unpatriotic act an office holder can undertake. Our long history with nepotism and misgovernance undermines public trust among Nigerians to the extent that if care is not taken, Nigerians will transfer aggression to innocent leaders who have just emerged. These issues do not merely hinder our progress, they actively work against the very ideas of nationhood and patriotism which we hold dear. Inept leadership of the past has ruined many socioeconomic disparities in our society. The gap between the privileged and the disadvantaged widens daily, creating a nation divided not just by ethnicity or religion, but by inequality, opportunity, and access to resources. As a result, most of our citizens do not believe that our country holds equal opportunities for everyone. This inequality strikes at the very heart of our patriotic zeal. It dampens that zeal in more ways than one. These issues have created a crisis of patriotism in our nation. They have led many to question their faith in Nigeria, and no doubt the promise of our great country, Nigeria. my esteemed members of the Yoruba Tennis Club, I do not enumerate these challenges to dishearten us. Rather, I mention them because we have to confront them head-on if we must overcome. The issue of declining patriotism is a global phenomenon. Even developed countries, including the almighty USA, are currently grappling with the challenge of declining patriotism among their citizens. Thus, I stand here today to tell you that all hope is not lost. The spirit of Nigeria, that indomitable will that has seen us through countless trials, still burns bright. Our potential remains vast. Our resources are abundant, and our people are resilient. We simply need a renewal of our national spirit, a recommitment to the ideas that bind us together as one nation. We must work tirelessly to address these challenges, to build a Nigeria that provides security, prosperity, and justice for all its citizens. Look at the current policies of the new administration. Let us not be aggrieved by the actions of the past. Let us evaluate the present realistically and pragmatically. This task falls not just on the government, but to every Nigerian. We must each play our part in rebuilding trust, in promoting unity, in rekindling the flames of patriotism among Nigerians. We must remember that Nigeria is more than just a geographical expression. It is our home. It is our heritage. It is our hope for the future. But how do we face these challenges practically? How do we renew patriotic zeal among 225 million people who call Nigeria their home? How do we reclaim and bring back the Nigerians who do not feel that their country has offered them sufficient space for equality and social justice? Hereunder is my opinion on how this can be achieved. One thing is clear. I hold the view that these Nigerians have never given up on Nigeria, so they can be reclaimed. Thus, I found plenty of solace in the article written by Timothy Oyegoke, which I already referred to. In his conclusion, he said, the migration of many Nigerians out of the country is not an issue of unpatriotism, but it is about life. It is about liberty. It is about the pursuit of happiness. I concur with this conclusion. I concur because I've observed that these Nigerians retain a very high level of interest in the affairs of the country. For example, I received countless invitations by our diaspora Nigerians to come and talk about developments in Nigeria. How do we bring back the Nigerians? Every day we are faced with situations that make us wonder the kind of country we would bequeath to our children. The thought or prospects of bequeathing a country devoid of nationalism, devoid of security and patriotism, is scary, and the task of reclaiming Nigeria is an urgent one. Thus, allow me to outline a number of strategies that will bring back the unique feelings of pride in being a Nigerian, and this will, in turn, help us to find the elusive or missing Nigerians. I'm referring to that deep and emotional feelings of pride that infected all Nigerians when our green, white, green flag was unveiled as the symbol of our independence. First and foremost, we must promote and embody our national values. Citizenship, integrity, and national pride should not just be only words we recite, but principles we live by. Our National Orientation Agency and the entire Ministry of Information and National Orientation will spearhead efforts to champion these values, inspiring a renewed commitment and loyalty to Nigerians among all citizens. This is why I praise the decision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government to introduce our old national anthem, Nigeria, We Heard You. The words of this anthem feel like the balm to the battered soul of our nation. It is truly a wonder that it was ever jettisoned in the first place. Thankfully, it is back for good. It is the first crucial step in the redemptive task of renewing our patriotic zeal. We must keep looking to our history for inspiration. Our founding fathers and leaders of independent Nigeria had patriotism in their DNA. They took on the colonialists with fervor and fought with pride for a new Nigeria, free from the shackles of colonialism. Their act of courage left us as proud inheritors of their hard work and sacrifice. We must honor their legacy by embodying that same spirit of patriotism in our own time. By the sweet lyrics of an anthem, the soothing words of a pledge, the bright colors of a flag, and the wishes of our forebears will not be enough. Accountability, integrity, and purposeful leadership must be at the forefront of our efforts if we must achieve the desired result. We cannot expect patriotism to flourish in an environment where corruption and nepotism go unchecked. I am convinced and I'm happy that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on track to rebuild Nigeria. Recent reports from PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, indicate that some of the desired positive economic changes have begun to emerge from the reform policies of the federal government. According to the report, Fitch Ratings revised the outlook on Nigeria's long-term foreign currency issuer default ratings, IDR, from being stable to positive. On exports grew. Oil exports grew by 200.9% to 15.5 trillion naira in Q1 of 2024, from 5.5 trillion naira it was in Q1 of 2023. Non-oil exports grew by 38.5% to 1.8 trillion in Q1 of 2024, from 1.3 trillion in Q1 of 2023 it was. This is a clear signal that we are getting out of the woods. That aside, the administration has expressed desire and capacity to fight corruption and enthrone good governance. Inclusive governance is another hallmark that we should encourage. If the truth must be told, President Bola Tinubu has, by the equitable spread of critical infrastructure, reassured Nigerians of diverse ethnic and religious leanings that they should have faith in the country. That is a practical way of engendering a sense of belonging and a deeper sense of patriotism among them. The major factor facilitating this process is inclusivity. When people believe they belong, that sense of belonging makes it easier for them to believe in the country again. It is on record that under the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the hierarchy of the security architecture is now more inclusive. This is a major ingredient for national cohesion, which helps our findings of those Nigerians who believe the country protects their interests. You'll be glad to know that in Imo State, my administration has demonstrated a strong commitment to good governance and accountability. We particularly empowered our young boys and girls in the digital skills. Over 40,000 have graduated, and 85% of them gainfully employed. The truth is that the government of Imo State and even the APC-led federal government are committed to supporting our anti-corruption agencies and enforcing stricter penalties for those who betray the public trust. When we hold individuals accountable for their actions and punish their bad behaviors that compromise our collective welfare through the strengthening of our criminal justice system, we create a society where patriotism can thrive. Our youth are the future of this nation. We must engage them in nation building. We must expand educational programs which celebrate Nigeria's rich culture and history, encouraging our young people to take pride in their heritage. Community service initiatives and civic responsibilities should be integrated into our education system, instilling in our youth a sense of ownership and pride in their citizenship. Civic education must be a cornerstone of our efforts. Our schools will promote civic responsibility and patriotism by teaching our children about the country's history, about the country's culture and values. It is only by understanding our past that we'll be better equipped to shape our tomorrow. National unity and inclusivity are paramount in our quest to revive patriotism. Nigeria's diversity should be a source of strength and not a source of weakness. Across all sectors, the government must prioritize policies that ensure social justice for all citizens, regardless of their background. We should actively work to bridge the gaps between different groups, celebrating our diversity while emphasizing our shared values and aspirations as Nigerians. We must also strengthen our national symbols and traditions. The Nigerian flag, the national anthem, the national pledge should be recognized and promoted as national symbols and powerful reminders of our collective identity and values. We should restore and promote the old tradition of the regular and purposeful use of the national anthem and pledge in our schools, in public institutions, at community events. Additionally, we should celebrate and preserve our rich cultural heritage, promoting a stronger connection to our history and identity. The media and public figures play crucial roles in shaping our national narrative. We should work closely with the media to highlight positive stories of patriotism, not promote to envisage the protests on August 10 by unknown hands. Civic engagement and national achievement, whenever we promote patriotic role models, we inspire ourselves to take pride in our country and contribute to its development. In conclusion, my esteemed audience, reviving patriotism in our great nation is a task that falls to each of us. It requires a fundamental shift in our mindset and behavior, from the halls of government to the streets, from the cities to the villages. We must all work together to foster a sense of national pride and commitment to our country's progress. The challenges we face are significant, but they are not unsurmountable. We can rekindle the flame of patriotism in our country if we address these issues head-on by promoting good governance, promoting unity, investing in education, addressing economic challenges, and celebrating our national identity. We must also consider how far our nation is driven by merit in her public and private life. How many young people get employed in private and public spaces on merit rather than on who they know or where they come from? How many people move up their career ladder based on merit rather than on who they know, their creed or tribe? How many young men and women have unfettered opportunities to pursue their dreams, their careers or occupations based on what they can offer rather than on who they know or where they come from? The questions are indeed endless. The truth is that this nation is not largely merit-driven, and that is our major bane. Let me illustrate this unfortunate reality with a true life story that represents the lot of many folks. Two boys were born the same year in the same city in Nigeria, but to two parents from different parts of the country. They attended the same secondary school and sat the common entrance examination to Unity Secondary Schools the same year. One scored 250 in the exam, and the other scored 120. The one with the one that scored 250 was not admitted, but the one with 120 was admitted. So why the one, hold on, so why the one who scored 120, so why the one who scored 120 went to a federal school, a federal government college? The one with the 220 went to a community secondary school in his state. Both finished secondary school the same year and took the joint admission and matriculation board exam. Both applied to study law in the first generation universities. The one who went to a federal government college scored 118 in JAM, while the one who went to a community school scored 237. The one with 118 was admitted to the first generation university of his choice, while the one who scored 230 was not. He eventually got admission to a university owned by his own state. Again, both graduated the same year in law, with the one who went to a state university back in a first class, while his friend made a third class. Both were called to the bar the same year. Again, the third class graduate immediately got a federal job, while his class friend remained jobless, who bagged first class. Later, he became a charge and bail lawyer for lack of job to do. 12 years after the call to bar, the charge and bail lawyer had a matter in a federal high court. When the judge entered the courtroom, guess what? It was his childhood who met his class friend that was the judge. The question is, could this scenario have occurred if our system was merit-driven? The answer is that, of course, you know. Granted that our system must find a way to ensure that firebrand, intelligent young people are not frustrated. There are many in this bracket as we speak, and it doesn't speak well of our nation and our Nigerianness. I believe that there should be a way to balance this to ensure the accommodation of many. Government could initiate a policy to grant automatic scholarships to those who score a certain grade in JAM. Say, for instance, those who score 300 and above, or those within the bracket of the best 0.05% performance. Similarly, the government can make it a standing policy that those who graduate with first class in federal universities will be given automatic jobs. State governments should do the same for those graduating from their state universities. I actually did that with those who made first class in law in both Imo State University and the law school. They were given automatic jobs in the state. I'm convinced that adopting such policies will ensure that our brightest and best brains are not allowed to be frustrated, just like the case of the man in the pathetic story I just narrated. We need to create enough space for everyone to thrive, and this should emphasize merit. Herein comes the need to take another look at our federal project, which in my view is currently skewed. We need to create sufficient space for all tribes and tongues in the land to thrive without impeding the speed or space of order. This is why the need to rejig our federal project may be inevitable. If we do, we would have gone a long way in addressing the root of the palpable despair of a good number of our people who have lost confidence that the present federal structure is capable of protecting their interests. This is cogent, because when we take this needful step, we will have ensured that more powers are not only devolved to the states, but more responsibilities, space, and resources also, which will be enough to accommodate the yearnings of our people, particularly the teeming population of the youth. Besides, by doing so, we will be true to the creed of our new national anthem, that though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. And I dare to add that when we do, we will find that the Nigerians we seek, who love their country fervently, and who will be ready to make sacrifices for her, are indeed everywhere. As George McGowan once said, the highest patriotism is not a blind acceptance of official policy, but a love of one's country deep enough to call her to higher planes. Ladies and gentlemen, from the foregoing, it must be obvious that we all have a duty to find and reclaim our fellow compatriots, including those in the diaspora. Speak to their consciences. Let them understand the value of being loyal to the country. Let them not be incited by agents of the system, agents of the government. We must engage them all over in the task of building the Nigerian nation as part of responsibility as true patriots. Finally, I want to leave you with the words of Adela Stevenson. Patriotism is not a short and frenzied outburst of emotion, but the tranquil and steady dedication of a lifetime. The task of our generation is to find or build this category of patriotic Nigerians, those who are the Nigerians the nation needs to survive. I thank you again for the privilege to lead this conversation on patriotism here at the platform of this prestigious club, the oldest indigenous club in our beloved country. May God bless all of us. Long live the Yoruba Tennis Club. Long live Nigerians. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live the chairman of Yoruba Force.
It will no doubt be a good material for the need to rejig our governance architecture. As you may have heard, in the course of proceedings here, Yoruba Tennis Club, founded almost a century ago, was premised on the need for truth and social justice. Public lectures such as this is a platform that has been variously used over the years to bring to attention important issues that can promote communal cohesion and happiness of the people. For those who listened with rapt attention to His Excellency's delivery, you must have noticed one constant factor: the human resources. When you talk of the attributes of a state, a nation, population it is, Nigeria has it. We have territory, we have sovereignty. Those are elements of modern nation states. But most of the conclusions were anchored on the need to consciously channel the human resource to make for a better society. Without bugging you much, there are some sound bites that I will bring again to your attention. Part of it was that only those with a passion for social justice in the land will promote communal prosperity. And today's lecture has largely addressed these contradictions in the Nigerian society. He provided ways forward to make it better. Also, he highlighted the fact that Nigerians generally love their country. All the leadership needs to do is to mobilize, motivate them, and guide them to a better society. He highlighted the need for accountability, purposeful leadership, and responsibility, which should be the beacon of hope. Incidentally, he is Senator Hope, and he is in the renewed hope agenda. So in furtherance of all this, we should rebuild the nation, utilizing those elements he highlighted. You may have noticed that in addition to the current challenges, many attributed this to what is considered a faulty extant governance architecture. And many of the examples that His Excellency highlighted, they bordered on this. So, Yoruba Tennis Club has always been in the forefront of the need to tell it as it is to whomsoever is in power, with a view to having a more just socio-economic society. Part of His Excellency's submissions were the urgent need to review the extant inadequacies, which he copiously highlighted. Patriotism or love of one's country reflects in special affection, issue of personal identification, willingness to sacrifice one's life for country's good. Interestingly enough, I spent 33 years in the Nigerian Armed Forces, and it's saddening that from the statistics that His Excellency highlighted, not so many are willing to go. That means the present institutions require some reform. We have to say a second look at all this, but I commend to everyone this doctoral thesis of a lecture for us to read, digest, and then inform, articulate the issues to be submitted anytime we choose to rejig the country's governance architecture. So, since time has been well spent, it seems a bit on the long side, and the lecture appeared to have been well taken, we will allow for only 2 comments from either of the 2 aisles. Does anybody want to make a comment or a little contribution, or do I take it that it's all understood? Yes. The gentleman here. Will you please get in the mic?
Your Excellency, the Governor of Ekiti State. Your Majesty, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My comment is that I am here as the head of service of Imo State with representatives of the body of permanent secretaries to give confirmation, real-life confirmation, to what His Excellency has said in his paper. Real life in the sense that he met an Imo State civil service that was not strong enough for what he expected. And so when we talk about patriotism, citizen participation, that is the very reason the body of permanent secretary said, you must be here. Because he has done it in healthcare provision, he has done it in salary payment, he has done it in training and retraining. And that is what we are expecting that he's doing here for all Nigerians. And so, Your Excellency, we thank you for this power to speak truth to power. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want one message. That message is that all of us have listened to this brilliant paper. And I should rather say it's a doctoral thesis. If this is a university, we could give him a doctorate degree today. But my point is here. He wouldn't be the first person to speak this way. And he probably will be not the last person. The question is, when these things are spoken, we should internalize it. Not to be thinking that it's the other man who should do it. Everybody has a way of pushing patriotism, or the things that can bring social equity, equality to somebody else. My point, Mr. Chairman, is that today everybody living here has a small space he controls, has a little constituency. Can we act in that constituency the Nigerian that we want? Can we build it in that constituency, irrespective of what everybody else is doing? If we continue to do that day for day, Nigeria will become that country we need. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I would like to call on our river trustee, who is here in representative capacity on behalf of the Chairman Board of Trustees, Brother Dr. Femi Okunu, SAN-CON, who himself is a man of caliber. May I call on Brother Sigismund Babashi Joseph, SAN, to give the closing remarks and also make a presentation to the guest lecturer, Brother Joseph.
Brethren of Yoruba Tennis Club, long live our sisters, long live our guests. I bring you good tidings from the Chairman Board of Trustees, Alhaji Femi Okuno, SAN-CON. Well, as you all know, he's in his 90s, and there's a limit to his moving around. Today's lecturer, Senator Uzodimma, thank you so much for this insightful and thought-provoking lecture. I'm not surprised. I haven't listened to your profile being read. Very deep lecture. And I am sure we will all walk away with thoughts in our mind. One of the speakers mentioned just the last speaker said, look, don't just listen and walk away. Practice what you preach. Practice what you preach. We should all go back home today with a few things. Number one, the contents of Senator Uzodimma's lecture. Take it back to your communities. I said it earlier, practice what you preach. Take it back. Reflect on it. And above all, let us engage amongst ourselves the act of attending such lectures, encourage such lectures, enlighten ourselves. We have a long way to go in this country. Let us prefer positive things, not negative things. The social media, it's all about negative things in Nigeria. Senator, thank you. Warm regards from Alhaji Okunu again, and then have a good afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
I'm just considering I saw your flash was in my feed, but that's why I need to know.
In appreciation of the delivery of a public lecture on the emergency. Today, the 18th day of July 2024, I present you.
Excellency, sir.
Your Excellency. Sorry. Excellency.
In addition to that, there is a talking gift for Your Excellency. Yeah, thank you.
We humbly invite the royal father. We want you, the governor of the state, to please step off the photograph, please. Very well, the vice chairman. The vice chairman, you're invited as well. Thank you. Your Excellency, this is a presentation from the group committee. Honorable Chairman of the Yoruba Tennis Club, the Vice Chairman of the Yoruba Tennis Club will please go on council. Who opened my museum in 1921. I was so proud that he's here. He's my very good friend. And also Toby Akisoya and the Professor and all those are art directors very, very close to me. And I said I was giving to when I go to Imo State, I see a different thing that the government for what is doing. I have never probably were in Imo State. We got to Abia and now Professor State. There are a lot of committees, SAG or USA, has come for committee of presenting this to you, and I said I must present it in Lagos. Yes, we must present it to you in a place. The title is DK Your Corner Back. It's a hunter. DK Your Corner Back. You can see that is his name because it's a DK. He went to bush, clean everything, and bring to his people to eat. He has brought Abuja to come and succeed the people. It was coming back to him. So when I come in here, I see we have some holidays up his hand and I don't even ask that with you. Say, so don't come here, I want to release you. This is the person the people want to do, but now we have to do it of ABC. So I am very happy. And Governor General, not only General, but no problem.
Please, a side question, John.
As the Biscon Tv show, BOS, the globally acknowledged leading brand in the cutting-edge, inimitable production of groundbreaking events dating back many decades, prepares to celebrate its Silver Jubilee anniversary. It's time to blow our own trumpet resoundingly, stating the qualities that have continued to endear the BOS brand to all our fans across and beyond Nigeria. In the last 25 years, the Biscon Tv show, BOS, which is the longest-running general interest magazine program on television in Nigeria, has covered and broadcasted events of social, economic, corporate, political, and entertainment values every week unfailingly. With iconic events dating back many decades captured for posterity, BOS honors those living and immortalizes the dead everlastingly. The Biscon Tv show, BOS, proudly boasts of being one of the broadcast outfits with the richest library of archives of past events. The Biscon Tv show's awesome archive of iconic events parade the coverage of convocations of universities, coronations of traditional rulers, inaugurations of state governors in Nigeria, the inaugurations of Nigerian presidents, and President Barack Obama of the United States of America. 2010 World Cup in South Africa, covered by the ubiquitous Biscon Tv show, BOS. BOS was also at the inauguration of the Alake of Egbaland 16 years ago, Oba of Benin 8 years ago, Oni of Ife, Ulu of Warri, and many more. As for the birthday, anniversary, and weddings of the high and mighty in the society, the BOS archives is replete with very exciting pan and beyond Nigerian super coverages. As for the festivals like Calabar Carnival, Ujude Oba Festival of the Ijebus, Lishabi Festival of the Egbas of Ogun State, and others, the Biscon Tv show BOS simply is the toast of all. The corporate concerns, the banks, telecommunication companies, and other business concerns have made BOS their prime choice over the years. The newspapers, state governments would rather the almighty Biscon Tv show give the coverage of their awards our inimitable packaging as exemplified by what we have in the awesome BOS archives. The Biscon Tv show, BOS, is the preferred choice of state governments in the propagation and publicity of their programs to their different constituents in different states, because the Biscon Tv show is the #1 program they've all been watching religiously in the last 25 years. In fact, the Biscon Tv show, BOS, commissioned to provide a comprehensive nationwide campaign program for President Goodluck Jonathan, President Muhammadu Buhari, and President Bola Tinubu, which took the BOS team around the country campaigning for votes for the candidates at the time. The Biscon Tv show, BOS, was also involved in rigorous campaign for Governor Duoye Diri of Bayelsa State, Senator Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, and Governor Gboyega Oyetola of Osun State. Incidentally, these were all clients of BOS from the two different political parties, APC and PDP. Also, in the very rich archives of BOS, with events that span over 25 years, is the one where BOS paid an everlasting honor to immortalize Nigeria's First Lady of all times, Mrs. Stella Obasanjo, who died 19 years ago. The Biscon Tv show, BOS, the first and the best, still remains on the very top of our game.
Plans are in top gear for a most befitting burial for Lady Onyeka Onwenu MFR. the elegant stallion and an illustrious daughter of Nigeria. Onyeka Onwenu, who bowed out majestically on Tuesday, 30th July 2024 at the age of 72, hailed from Arondi Zogo in Imo State and was raised in Port Harcourt, River State. Lady Onyeka Onwenu MFR, who was a renowned journalist, author, actress, politician, singer, and producer, was a special gem to Lagosians and the nation. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State led a powerful delegation of government officials on a condolence visit to Onyeka Onwenu's family in Lagos. On Governor Sanwo-Olu's team were Dr. Kadiri Hamzat, Deputy Governor for Lagos State, Mr. Tayo Ayinde, Chief of Staff, and Mr. Gbenga Omotosho, Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was received by Onyeka Onwenu's sons, Tijani and Ibrahim Ogunlende, and Uriano Ngozi Chukwuka, Mrs. Nneka Krisa Soluka, and Prince Bisi Olatilo. A strongly worded but emotionally laden letter of condolence from Lagos State Government was personally presented to Onyeka Onwenu's children by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State. Having been properly briefed by Onyeka Onwenu's children and members of Onyeka Onwenu's Burial Planning Committee, Friday, August 23, 2024, Eco Hotel, Victoria Island is confirmed. Prince Bisi Olatilo, a member of Onyeka Onwenu's Burial Planning Committee, thanked Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for the visit, for rising up quickly to the occasion and stepping up to the plate. With his strategic move, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has sounded it loud and clear that Lagos is home to all Nigerians. In fact, that's another very emphatic way to say categorically that Onyeka Onwenu and those from the southeast and other parts of Nigeria have contributed immensely to the development of Lagos State. Lagos State is set to play a major part in giving Onyeka Onwenu a most befitting burial that Africa's quintessential, multifacetedly talented, globally recognized entertainer is deserving of. At the end of the day, the celebration of Onyeka Onwenu's transition will further improve the relationship between Lagos State and our brothers and sisters from the southeastern part of Nigeria. For close to 5 decades, Onyeka Onwenu's incredibly versatile creative acumen resonated across and beyond Nigeria, spreading joy and happiness. Onyeka Onwenu first struck the consciousness of Nigerians with a powerful production of the documentary titled The Squandering of Riches, which she also presented on NTA network service. However, Onyeka Onwenu's very impactful contribution through strong and meaningful musical messages carved a very special place of everlasting immortalization for her in the hearts of all Nigerians. Through these messages, Onyeka Onwenu preached peaceful coexistence among Nigerians from all parts of the country as envisaged by our founding fathers. Onyeka Onwenu has contributed far more than her own quota, using her God-given talents to the socio-economic and political development of Nigeria. Onyeka Onwenu and the Biscon brand have indeed come a very long way, complementing to our successes in a mutually beneficial way. The Biscon Television, which boasts of having the richest archives of performances by Onyeka Onwenu dating back over 30 years, will celebrate her with some of those iconic performances. We begin with Onyeka Onwenu's 25th anniversary celebration on stage, most professionally crafted and unconventionally presented by Tony Okoroji and Patrick Doyle. Nigeria's showbiz industry, media, entertainment, and key players in the socio-economic and political sectors showed up for Onyeka Onwenu at the grand celebration of her quarter-of-a-century celebration in Lagos. Leading the distinguished and esteemed audience of fans, admirers, friends and colleagues of Onyeka Onwenu was a late Ambassador Segun Olushola, Nigeria's one-time ambassador to Ethiopia, who is also a consummate lover of the arts.
For anyone who came into this business of the performing arts with alternatives, she could have been a teacher, she had such qualifications, she could have been a writer, she could have been just a journalist, but she practiced journalism, she practiced broadcasting, but she meant to be a performing artist as a singer, being her forte, and she has done very, very well.
There were also actresses like Stella Damascus, Joker Silva, who shared the stage of acting with Onyeka Onwenu, and indeed musicians like the late Samuel Poso and others who rallied a huge support for the elegant stallion.
I'm very glad that we have this opportunity, that in her lifetime we're showing her how much we honor her, we value her, and we appreciate the fact that she's an icon and a role model, because she's been consistent for the past 25 years. So I'm very glad that I'm here to be part of this event, because she is a fantastic artist.
A woman of true grit, determination, and unfortunately for her, things can't be perfect because she's a perfectionist. She really strives for perfection, and but she's also great fun. We had a lot of fun on Women's Court.
The happiest person on that day was Onyeka's late mother, who proudly told the world her daughter took after her singing prowess. Onyeka Onwenu was a very engaging total performer who puts all her heart and incredible mastery into the delivery of all her songs.
She started singing when she was very small. She started singing, but she emulated it from me. She's not afraid of anybody. She sings like Kennedy. We call her Kennedy.
Onyeka Onwenu introduced many trailblazing innovations into her genre of music, which she presented to in all Nigerian languages.
I feel wonderful, I feel beautiful, I feel fulfilled and loved. The albums I've released, the contributions to the industry in terms of organization, in terms of song structure, I was the first to blend English and the local language seamlessly in a song. The first song was You and I. If you go back and check, I was one of the first to demand to be well paid. What else? I was the first to have a billboard. There were many things, but we thank God. At the time, I didn't know they were innovative. I was just doing whatever creative instincts I had. And look at the way it turned out. And I'm glad that I have a lot of young girls who are looking up to me. I thank God for that. And pray to Him to give me the grace not to let them down, ever.
Onyeka Onwenu lit up the stage at all the Ovation Red Carol events put up by Dele Momodu of Ovation International Magazine.
Somebody tell me. Keep us Keep us together. Hey, can you sing this song of the stable for me? One love. One love. Keep us together. And I just feel it. One more time. One more time. If you can feel it. One love. One love. Keep us together. Hey, one love, always one love. One love. Keep us together. It surely will, it surely will. One more time. One love, keep us together. Now I want all the women to get ready. We're gonna sing it together. One love. One, you know we have to show them how to sing. One love. Keep us together. All right. Just the men. Okay, I didn't give you enough time to prepare. So take a deep breath, everybody. Just the men now. Okay, women, let us teach them how to do it. One love. Put your hands together for them. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. One love will keep us together. Alright? What God has brought together. No man can put asunder, whether it is marriage or whether it is a nation. We will continue to work hard. One love, keep us together.
Onyeka Onwenu was in the forefront as last respects were paid to some of our fallen colleagues, the late Christy Esianibokwe's burial in 2011.
Very well that wherever she is, she's looking on and urging us not to cry, not to weep for her, because she had a full and fulfilled life.
As we end this first part of our special memory in remembrance of Onyeka Onwenu, Nigeria's everlasting elegant stallion, we remember with immense and unforgettable gratitude to Onyeka Onwenu. Her earth-shaking performances at the wedding of Prince Bisi Olatilo's first daughter, Princess Adetola Elutilo Ni Olatilo in 2008, and the second daughter to Prince Bisi Olatilo, Princess Adewumi Funsho Ni Olatilo, exactly 10 years ago this year.
Funsho Olatilo wedding splash in Lagos.
Finally, Onyeka Onwenu crowned her love and great admiration for Prince Bisi Olatilo with an outstanding performance at his 70th birthday anniversary celebration in Lagos on the 20th of December 2023. Our prayers always is that God Almighty will guide and protect her two very lovely, well-brought-up children, Tijani and Abraham Ogulende, who, like their mother, are members of the arts fraternity.
As the Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS, the globally acknowledged leading brand in the cutting-edge, inimitable production of groundbreaking events dating back many decades, prepares to celebrate its Silver Jubilee anniversary, it's time to blow our own trumpet resoundingly, stating the qualities that have continued to endear the BOS brand to all our fans across and beyond Nigeria. In the last 25 years, the Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS, which is the longest-running general interest magazine program on television in Nigeria, has covered and broadcasted events of social, economic, corporate, political, and entertainment values every week unfailingly. With iconic events dating back many decades captured for posterity, BOS honors those living and immortalizes the dead everlastingly. The Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS, proudly boasts of being one of the broadcast outfits with the richest library of archives of past events. The Bisi Olatilo Show's awesome archive of iconic events parade the coverage of convocations of universities, coronations of traditional rulers, inaugurations of state governors in Nigeria, the inaugurations of Nigerian presidents, and President Barack Obama of the United States of America. 2010 World Cup in South Africa, covered by the ubiquitous Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS. BOS was also at the inauguration of the Alake of Egbaland 16 years ago, Oba of Benin 8 years ago, Oni of Ife, Ulu of Warri, and many more. As for the birthday, anniversary, and weddings of the high and mighty in the society, the BOS archives is replete with very exciting pan and beyond Nigerian super coverages. As for the festivals like Calabar Carnival, Ujude Oba Festival of the Ijebus, Lishabi Festival of the Egbas of Ogun State, and others, the Bisi Olatilo Show BOS simply is the toast of all. The corporate concerns, the banks, telecommunication companies, and other business concerns have made BOS their prime choice over the years. The newspapers, state governments would rather the almighty Bisi Olatilo Show give the coverage of their awards our inimitable packaging as exemplified by what we have in the awesome BOS archives. The Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS, is the preferred choice of state governments in the propagation and publicity of their programs to their different constituents in different states, because the Bisi Olatilo Show is the #1 program they've all been watching religiously in the last 25 years. In fact, the Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS, commissioned to provide a comprehensive nationwide campaign program for President Goodluck Jonathan, President Muhammadu Buhari, and President Bola Tinubu, which took the BOS team around the country campaigning for votes for the candidates at the time. The Bisi Olatilo Show, BOS, was also involved in rigorous campaign for Governor Duoye Diri of Bayelsa State, Senator Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, and Governor Gboyega Oyetola of Osun State. Incidentally, these were all clients of BOS from the two different political parties, APC and PDP. Also, in the very rich archives of BOS, with events that span over 25 years, is the one where BOS paid an everlasting honor to immortalize Nigeria's First Lady of all times, Mrs. Stella Obasanjo, who died 19 years ago. The Biscon Show, BOS, the first and the best, still remains on the very top of our game.
Hello there, this is Biscon Television broadcasting from Lagos. Here's the news read by Bisi Olatilo. First, the main items. Federal government increases Nigeria passport procurement fees. NBA calls on judges to revive public trust after pay rise. In business, federal government plans fresh $100 billion investments. And the foreign scene, Kamala Harris's VP pick, Tim Walz, rallies Democratic Convention. In sports, Victor Boniface banned, fined €25,000 for offensive gesture. And now the news in full. The federal government has increased the fees for the procurement of Nigerian passport with effect from the 1st of September 2024. A statement by the agency spokesman, Deputy Comptroller of Immigration, Kenneth Udo, says the increment is part of the government's efforts to maintain the quality and integrity of the Nigerian standard passport. He said that based on the review, a 32-page passport booklet with 5-year validity previously charged at 35,000 naira will now be 50,000 naira, while a 64-page passport booklet with 10-year validity, which was 70,000 naira, will now be 100,000 naira only. The statement further noted that the fees remain unchanged for Nigerians in diaspora. While expressing regrets about any inconvenience this might have caused prospective applicants, the Immigration Service assured Nigerians of unwavering commitment to transparency and quality service delivery at all times. The Nigeria Bar Association, NBA, has called on the judiciary to justify the recent improvement in its remuneration. In a statement signed by its president, Yakub Mikhail, SAN, the association noted that the judiciary must make a deliberate and conscious effort to work back into the hearts of Nigerians and revive public confidence in that arm of government. While applauding the efforts that went into enacting the Judicial Office Holders Act 2024, the NBA also called on the national and state houses of assembly to seriously consider the inclusion of magistrates within the definition of judicial officers in the Constitution in the ongoing constitutional review. According to the statement, the magistrates across the country are responsible for the handling of most criminal matters at the lower level of the society. It added that the institution of the magistracy across the state needs to be strengthened and better funded to help improve grassroots justice delivery and curb the menace of criminal activities in the society. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has released the sacked chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Jalal Arabi, and the Commission's Secretary, Abdullahi Kwantagora, on bail. Arabi and Kwantagora were arrested over alleged illegal withdrawal and the mismanagement of the 90 billion naira 2024 Hajj Intervention Fund. However, they were unable to meet their bail obligations and stayed in EFCC custody for 5 days. But speaking with newsmen, a source familiar with the matter stated that Arabi and Kwantagora had made their bail conditions. The source said they were released on Monday, adding that no further recovery had been made yet after the first 314.98 Saudi Riyal. You're watching Biscon TV News. Now, business news. The Minister of Budgets and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, says The federal government is planning to invest $100 billion annually to tackle the economic challenges facing Nigeria. Bagudi noted that the recent nationwide protest against the bad governance in Nigeria has forced government officials to listen more and do better. He said, though the current economic situation is due to cumulative years of underinvestment, the current administration is ready to right the wrongs and improve the country in the next 25 years. This came as the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, said Nigeria was battling various socio-economic challenges that threatened the existence of a national union. The two government officials spoke at the National Economic Dialogue 2024, organized by the Nigeria Economic Summit Group in Abuja. The event, attended by leaders, policymakers, experts, and key stakeholders under the theme Nigeria's Economic Future, 25 Years of Democracy and Beyond, was to reflect on the nation's economic journey since its return to democracy rule in 1999. You're watching Biscon TV News. We'll take a short break now for foreign news. Democrats' vice presidential candidate Tim Walz led fellow party members in a political pep rally on Wednesday night, vowing that he and presidential running mate Kamala Harris would triumph over Republican Donald Trump in November's U.S. election. Walz brought his plain-speaking style and small-town values to the national stage, joined by a litany of political luminaries and star entertainers on the third night of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Walz, 60, accepted his party's nomination for the number 2 job in the U.S. He said America should be a place where children don't go hungry, health care and housing are human rights, and he condemned assaults on abortion rights and same-sex marriage. He spoke of preserving the freedoms that Democrats say are under attack from Trump, 78, who is making his third major party run for the White House. Walz said a second Trump White House would serve nobody except the wealthy and most extreme. In the meantime, Kamala Harris will address the gathering on its final night on Thursday. You're watching Biscon TV News. We'll take a small break now for sports. Nigerian international and Bayer Leverkusen striker Victor Boniface has been handed a match ban and fined €25,000 for an offensive gesture during the German Super Cup plunge with Stuttgart at Bayerna. Boniface, who scored his team's first of 2 goals in their win, allegedly showed the players his left middle finger as he ran past them immediately after the final whistle of the match. According to report, this means the 23-year-old will miss a German Cup match against Karl Zeiss Jena on Saturday, but will be available for Bayer Leverkusen opening Bundesliga match of the same season on Friday against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Reverend Tobias Schilter stated that he did not see this incident, and that was the reason the disciplinary committee had to investigate and bring charges retrospectively. In the meantime, both the player and his club have agreed to the ruling, which means it is legally binding. We'll end with the entertainment news. Let's take a short break for this. One night guests a collaborative film between Nigerian and Ghanaian filmmakers, is set to commence principal photography. Its production team announced at a press conference on Tuesday. Nollywood producer Chris Ode said the film will be shot entirely in Lagos, Nigeria, beginning on August 21st, adding that the movie is expected to premiere on December 25 across cinemas in Africa. One Night Guest is directed by Ghanaian filmmaker Peter Sedufia and produced by Old Film Productions, Ghana's Old Films in Nigeria, and Gravel Road Studios located in South Africa. Isabella Okechukwu, the general manager of Silverbird Film Distribution, added that the collaboration is evidence of Silverbird's commitment to showcasing African talents to the world. And that's it on Biscon TV News for this hour, produced by Tomiloba Abolari. My name is Bisi Olatilo. Thanks for watching.
Any defining moment for you where you started to really see that in your journey? You know, it could have been perhaps when you were, at the UN, or it could have been when you started business, where you started to see that, yes, there really is a gap. There's something